Amateurcast! Welcome to Amateurcast. This is a good show called Amateurcast, starring Kolby and Sebastian. Well, we will be so fast, because this is Amateurcast. Oh god, we have no theme song yet. Hi. Welcome to Amateurcast, the show where we pretend to know what we're talking about, and pretend that we can sing, apparently. My name is Sebastian Limon, and I am joined with Kolby Leapies.
I'm not pretending. I can sing really well. I just don't feel like it right now.
Oh, okay.
Just trust me.
That's fine. Yeah, so you just made me humiliate myself, huh? That's cool.
I don't know what you mean. That was really beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Kolby. You see, guys, get yourself a friend that appreciates your awful singing and will let you humiliate yourself and convince you that you did a good job.
Not only will I do that, but because I'm editing this episode, I'll make your singing even louder. You're so welcome.
You're just like having like a repeat of it.
Yeah,
over and over again.
I'll just put it just sprinkle it at random intervals throughout the episode.
Yeah, just like at random times. It'll be like a serious conversation, and then hi, what you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have all the power because I can cut out all my embarrassing voice cracks and sneezes, but anything you tell me to cut out, I will amplify.
Anytime you have like a voice crack, you just randomly hear hoorah. Just some man voice.
You'd hear a different guy, like a voice actor that I hired with a super deep manly voice.
Instead of today we'll be talking about M. Night Shyamalan. It'll be M. Night Shyamalan.
I hired Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, basically, yeah. Speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, ladies and gentlemen, what the heck? We will be talking about M. Night Shyamalan today for our very special episode of Amateurcast. Kolby, what the heck are we talking about? What did we watch? Tell us.
Our good old friend M. Night just had a new movie come out. It's about a beach that makes you old. And I know based on that concept, you're probably thinking, what could they possibly title such an out there creative idea? But the answer is the movie's called, get this, Seb.
I'm ready.
Old.
Oh my god.
That's the title.
It's not old. It's old.
Oh.
You get older every time you say it.
I think both you and I have a lot of thoughts on it. I don't know if I don't know how you feel about the movie. I just know that there's a lot to talk about because it's out there.
Yes. It's a movie that was released for sure by M. Night Shyamalan.
It certainly is a film. I don't want to give any of my thoughts away, but I will just say that I certainly did spend 2 hours in a movie theater.
Correct. It's a great assumption. That's not even assumption. That's a great fact. A matter of fact. Oh God.
And basically, in order to try to better understand how Shyamalan and we as a society got to this point, we will be also reviewing two of his earliest and to this day still most successful, most popular films. The Sixth Sense, which is of course his classic, the one that put him on the map, the one that is generally considered his best. Yeah. Talk about peaking too soon. And his follow-up to The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable.
Correct. Yeah. Let's talk about The Sixth Sense, shall we? So The Sixth Sense, you know what it's about. It's directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan. It's about this, stars Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, oh my God, I forgot her name. Toni Collette. Oh my, I'm so sorry, Toni. She's great in this.
She's so good.
You know what it's about. You know what this is. It's a classic. It has that twist. It's labeled as one of the greatest, or at least one of the most influential or like groundbreaking movies ever. Like that's it. It created a conversation for years. Like people flooded the theater going, "Holy shit! You have got to see this." And I can't think of the last time a movie did that with its twist.
Yeah, we should clarify. We should make a blanket statement. We're going to be spoiling all three of these movies. Um,
Yes.
The Sixth Sense has probably the most famous twist ending of any movie in film history.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, I mean, if you haven't seen it, you probably still know what it is. But if you don't know what it is and you're listening to this, don't do that. Don't listen to this. That's a silly person thing to do. And Unbreakable, is 20 years old. So I don't. Whatever. We're not gonna spoil it. Old is a little bit more recent. It has been out for like several weeks now.
It's not as old. Oh.
It's not old as young by comparison. So, but yeah, we're gonna be doing a bunch of spoilers. Sixth Sense, most famous twist ending ever.
Bruce Willis
probably...
is a slay.
What's that? Sorry. What'd you say?
I said Bruce Willis is a slay.
He's a slay?
It's, like Citizen Kane.
Oh.
Oh God, I was
like, Santa? What? Did he play Santa?
No, that was an awful try.
Good. No, I mean, probably the most famous twist ending before this was Psycho.
Oh, true.
Right? Which I feel like...
Or Empire.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
No, that's not a twist. It's more of like a... Oh, is that a twist? What would that be? Like a revelation?
Twist. It is a twist. I forget that it's an ending. It doesn't feel like it's an ending, you know? But it is true. Like the third act. So you're right. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, no, it is the third act. At that point, that's when shit's hitting the fan. So...
Yeah. This movie, in terms of Psycho comparison, feels very Hitchcock to me. Like from the very first scene, the opening, where Olivia Williams' character walks down into their wine cellar. She feels a chill. She runs up the stairs. Something about it visually really communicates like Hitchcock 60s. I can't explain exactly what it is, and that's really difficult to pull off for most directors.
Without it being super, like, oh look, this is a guy just trying to emulate Hitchcock. It didn't feel that way at all. It just felt inspired by it, which I thought was cool. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of directors like to make movies that are emulating either a certain old director or a certain, bygone time period. And it's like you watch it and you get the homage, but there's no mistaking that it's from now, you know. If you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is 100% like trying to be a 60s movie, you're not going to turn it on and go, okay, well, was this from the 60s? Like, regardless of who's in it, you know, just the way it looks, the way it's stylized. That's not a diss on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but a lot of directors try to make movies look old. Even Mank, which is a very impressive job, like looking like a 40s movie, it's still pretty like clearly a 2020 movie emulating a 40s movie. The Sixth Sense isn't doing as like broad and on the nose of an homage as those, but it still just has this very 60s Hitchcock
it's clearly influenced by it,
quality. Yeah, clearly. I'm sure Shyamalan would and probably has said on record that Hitchcock is like a major influence on him, just as a
his like biggest influence, his idol.
Yeah, I mean, the guy writes horrors and thrillers with big twists, so obviously he loves Hitchcock. And he cameos in every one of his movies, which is like a move that Hitchcock pioneered. So I'm sure he took that note from him.
I'm sure he worships Hitchcock much like every other filmmaker, film bro. Yeah, I don't blame him. I'm probably one of the, I wouldn't say one of the few, but I'm able to say that I have an experience of seeing it with someone who had no idea how the movie ended.
That's fun.
Which was my brother. I remember we took a trip to the beach. We rented a beach house and The Sixth Sense was on. It was like in the first minute.
Did you get old on the beach? Did the beach make you old?
Actually, yes, this was last week. And I was 7 last week. Now I am 47. No, basically, yeah. We started to watch it, and my brother knew about the movie The Sixth Sense, but for some reason he didn't know it ended that way. And we didn't know he didn't know either until the ending of the movie when it happens. And he's like, "What?" He freaked out, and we thought the whole time, like, "Oh, he knows," because it's like, yeah, Luke is Darth Vader is Luke's father. Bruce Willis is a ghost at the end. You know, it's one of those things that you just know. And so it was awesome to be able to experience that and to say I have a story about somebody freaking out at the end of that movie. I don't remember knowing or like finding out the first time of the ending, because I feel like that's just kind of common knowledge at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember watching it and being, whoa.
I think I learned that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time from like some old YouTube film video essay, about
Yeah.
like
Watch
foreshadowing
Mojo or something.
Yeah, probably Watch Mojo.
It was probably Watch Mojo.
But yeah, top 10 twist endings of all time. Number 10.
Yeah. Number 1. Number 1, The Sixth Sense. How could we not have this as number 1? I can just hear it now. Stupid
Exactly.
Watch Mojo.
When I watched it, and I watched The Sixth Sense for the first time somewhat recently, I think it was last year. I went in knowing the twist. That didn't like ruin it for me. I still appreciated it, and I still appreciated like all the moments before the ending where there are little foreshadows and little hints. I will say that I had the twist in my mind like out of order. I thought that the ending was I see dead people, but you learn that the kid is seeing dead people like less than halfway through the movie.
Yeah, like very early on.
Yeah, which in my mind makes me think, wow, I mean, maybe this twist was kind of obvious, but it's hard to say because I have not had the experience of going in not knowing that he's dead. So it's like with hindsight, I can think, well, once they say he sees dead people, wouldn't people start to suspect that Bruce Willis is dead? But,
No, I think they cleverly disguise the fact. Like upon rewatching it, it's like it's how could you have not seen it? I think.
Right.
Because I see what you're saying, in that it's I wouldn't say it's obvious, but it's there. Like the hints are there. His wife doesn't even look at him. I don't think you ever see him talking to Haley Joel Osment's mom at any point. But you think he does?
Yeah, when you look back at it, it's like they have a lot of scenes together, but they never communicate to each other.
But they never communicate, which is really clever and really well done. And there's no surprise when watching this, like why it's hailed the way that it is, honestly. With the twist ending, with the characterization, it's a very realistic, spooky story. Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate thriller, I think. I love the slow burn of it. Like both this one and Unbreakable are a very slow-paced, character-driven movies. And I love that shit. I really do. And, I mean, we'll get to Unbreakable. But Sixth Sense. Again, I'm going to have to say, I've said this before we were recording. There's really not much else that you can say that's already been said about the movie, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I do love it's great, yeah. Toni Collette, I don't think is spoken much about.
She's such an underrated actress in everything she's in.
And she's great in this, and I just love the dynamic between her and her son. It's great. It feels super real. I ache for their relationship, and for her to understand and to see him. It's really well done, and we'll get to old, but it's like it's insane how much Shyamalan has gone from this to old.
Yeah, I mean, Toni Collette's performance in Hereditary in 2018 is one of the best I've ever seen, hands down.
Right.
And this feels as another movie where she's a stressed out mother of a child who dabbles in the supernatural and maybe is demonically possessed. Um,
Maybe. Yeah.
this feels very much like a precursor to Hereditary for her career. She's really good in this. She got an Oscar nomination for this, which is very well deserved. Also, very impressive is Haley Joel Osment receiving an Oscar nomination for this movie at 11 years old.
Fantastic performance.
Easily, he gives one of the best child performances in this. He's very adult in the movie. Like it's a fine balance because he still comes off as very innocent and very sweet and very boyish, but he also like
He's a kid. Yeah.
He dresses in like very adult clothes, which I always find funny.
True. Yeah.
And like the last scene is like him basically being his mom's therapist. Like he gets her to like talk through her trauma, and then he hugs her and he's like, "It's gonna be okay." And it's like, it's so weird to see this little 11-year-old with stubby arms like comforting Toni Collette. But he's excellent. He's excellent in it.
Right. Yeah, of course. I love the balance of horror elements and drama. It's more that I'm just kind of baffled at how did he come to this point? I don't know. Because you watch this and it's like, it's really masterfully done, especially, we'll get to Unbreakable. Both movies, I think, are like done by a man who seems that he's been making movies forever, in my opinion. And I'm just more like shocked and confused and like, what happened? You know?
Hubris. You pull something off impressively, and then you just want to do more and more and more. And I feel like if you look at his filmography, it's not that he got lucky early on and then forgot how to make movies, which is a misconception that I think I had for a long time. It's that he made some really damn good movies with some clever twists, and that became the expectation, was that every one of his movies had to have a twist, and they all had to be clever, and they all had to, you know what I mean? They all had to have these foreshadows and these secrets.
That I think anything that he did was gold. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You get to the point where ego just gets in the way, and it's like, I can do whatever I want. Everybody worships me, and they're gonna go see it anyway.
Yeah.
I
mean, when in one of your first movies, people are calling you the next Hitchcock or the next Spielberg, like, you're gonna get in your own head. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Something that I do think that between this and Unbreakable, there are a lot of hints of what would come later in his career. Both of them are horror/thriller, with supernatural elements, right? But they're very, very deeply founded in a core of like a very character-driven story, where both of them are all about a domestic family issue. Before they're about ghosts or superpowers, they're about domestic family issues.
Right.
It's always Bruce Willis with a wife that doesn't like him and a kid that's messed up. Right?
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
They're both that. When you get down the line later in Shyamalan's career, like The Visit and especially Old, it seems like he's trying to do the same thing. Like, Old is like a family domestic issue based story, but he gets
with
really carried away
yeah.
and bogged down in, and we'll talk about this more when we get to Old, but in like introducing too much logic and explanation for his twist. Like, I think he's so convinced now that there has to be a twist that he just bends common sense and logic as much as he possibly can to reach the twist that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And also, I think a big problem with Old is its supporting characters and how much focus they pull away from the main point of the story.
Well, okay, we'll get there.
We will, but there's little droplets of that in The Sixth Sense. Right. I don't think it's too much in The Sixth Sense that it becomes a problem like it does in Old, but there's a sequence at that girl's funeral. You know what I'm talking about? Where Haley
that's
Joel
a great
Osment,
sequence.
Yeah, it's a great sequence, but I was sitting through it and I realized like we've been watching this random guy, the grieving father, for like 5-6 minutes unbroken without a shot of Haley Joel Osment or Bruce Willis or any of our main cast.
Mm.
That's interesting. Like, wow.
Yeah, I
This
think I think it works.
it
Like,
works great.
it works well, and I don't get why it works well for this and not for old.
I just think there's more constraint and more reserve in this one. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's 5 or 6 minutes, and it is playing directly towards the story of Haley Joel Osment.
Towards the story and what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, but later on, he just lets his supporting characters and their random ass backstories kind of pull attention and get in the way.
Yeah, and he just pulls out the weirdest and most random things from side characters, and you're just like, why is that there? What?
Yeah.
What? Why did it? Yeah. I don't know, but I don't have much to say else about The Sixth Sense because it's, I don't know, it's great. It's a classic. It's The Sixth Sense. You've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to say about it, but yeah, it's still very impressive. But I do have more to say about Unbreakable.
Do you have anything about The Sixth Sense that you dislike or you gripe with?
Not that I.
No?
Not that I can name. I mean, no, I can't think of anything. What about you?
There's one sequence in the movie that maybe I'm just being totally stupid, but I've watched it twice now and I just don't get it. Like when he's playing the old tape of Vincent Gray and he speeds it up and it sounds like it's like Latin or Spanish. And he's like, oh! And then he runs to the church. I don't get what that is. What's happening?
That's a great question.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't get what that sequence has to do with. It's a weird little tangent in the movie for me.
I remember. No, okay, yeah, you're right. That's a great question. I will answer it. Some other time. I don't know.
Okay, maybe somebody can watch the movie and go, "Oh, it's this, duh," and then they can put in the comments for me. I don't know. I didn't get that, but whatever. Other than that, I feel like this is a pretty close to perfect movie. I think it's really solid. It's a really
pretty awesome.
It's a very early peak for Shyamalan. That's for sure. Do you want to rate it?
9, 10. 10. I'm gonna give it 10. It's a classic.
Dang, I'd give it. And I'm right between like 8 and 9. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I'll say
whichever. 9? Nice.
I'll say 9. I don't have any major flaws with it. It's just good. It's just damn good.
Correct. Yes, I agree. Now let's go to Unbreakable. In my opinion, is the most underrated movie ever, or one of them, and
whoa,
and my personal favorite of Shyamalan's. Unbreakable stars Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson. Oh my God, what's her name? From Princess Bride.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright. Oh yeah. I'm so sorry. Basically, the movie is, what if Superman lived on Earth and never realized that he was Superman? And it's about Bruce Willis, who in the beginning of the movie is in a train accident, and he's the only survivor. There's no scratches, no broken bones, nothing. Like if nothing had happened to him at all. He miraculously is the only one that survives, and it's almost like because he's in the middle of a divorce. He's he's not happy at his job, and so it's almost like a wake up call for him to do something better in life in a way. And then it also is about Elijah Prince, who Sam Jackson plays, and he has this disease where his bones are so fragile that they're almost like glass in a way, where he can break his bones easily at any point. Like he falls and his bones are broken. It's been like that since he's been a little baby, which is like a great opening sequence to the movie. And Elijah is obsessed with comic books. He's been a comic book fanatic since he was little. It's what he's been able to kind of grab onto and kind of read and be able to kind of pass by his time, and because he as a kid he was always neglected and bullied and for being a weirdo, and comic books was always there for him, and so he's a huge comic book fan, and he contacts Bruce Willis, David Dunn, and telling him these crazy conspiracies and ideas that he might be a superhero. And I love this movie. It's an all-time favorite for me. It's easily Shyamalan's best movie. It's Bruce Willis's best performance. Maybe Sam Jackson's best performance. Gorgeous cinematography. I love the pacing of the movie. It's super slow, but it's super intriguing. You want to know what happens next. I think early on with that train accident, from then on, I'm hooked into the movie. And if this were to come out in the last 5 years, it would be like praise for being super, like it revitalized the superhero genre. It's like a different, it's super original and, how do I say it? Refreshing, that's the word. Critics would be saying, oh, what a refreshing take on superhero movies, because superhero movies are everywhere today. This came out in 2000. The only time, the only like what superhero movie that was out, like that was getting popular, was what, X-Men? Like we had Superman and we had Batman. But it's not like superhero movies were everywhere at this point. So this is one of those cases where this was pretty much ahead of its time. And people, when this came out, not many, it wasn't as big as The Sixth Sense. People were even comparing it to The Sixth Sense, saying, not fair. I don't think it's fair at all. I mean, I understand Sixth Sense is huge. People were excited about that. And then a new movie from the same guy comes out, and you're like, oh my God, what's the twist here? Is the twist as great? No, but I don't think the movie works because of its twist. I think the movie works because of everything around it. I'm going on a tangent. Kolby, what do you think of Unbreakable?
I had not seen this movie until this morning.
Oh.
I gotta be honest, I went in with pretty low expectations just because I'm not a big fan of Shyamalan. I like we just talked about, I think The Sixth Sense is great, but he's just pretty much gone downhill since. Since the early 2000s. So I went in with pretty low expectations, especially after hearing that Glass was terrible.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy the movie. The opening kind of made me chuckle because the opening is this weird, like, there's like this on-screen text. It's like, this many comic books are sold every year. This many children will spend this many hours every day reading a comic. It looks like it's about to be like a documentary about the deathly dangers of reading comics. It was very kind of funny. And then like at the end, there's like this on-screen text of like what happened to the characters after, as if it's real. It's like,
like it was real life.
It's like in the end, Elijah Price was in prison for 17 years. David Dunn would move to, it was just very kind of goofy documentary-ish. So I was kind of going into it thinking this is going to be something. But it turned out very, very good. Like you said, I really like the slow pacing of it, the slow burn of it, finding out about Bruce Willis's powers and Elijah Price's, or as he goes by, Mr. Glass's backstory.
Glass. Love it.
Something interesting I noticed about Samuel L. Jackson is that in each of his in the first scene of each of his 3 stages of life. Right, the first scene of the movie is him being born as a baby, and then one of the later scenes is him as like a young child, and then after that you get Samuel L. Jackson. So each time it shifts actors to a new era of Mr. Glass's life.
Mm-hmm.
We first see him reflected in Glass.
Yeah, great.
The first scene,
right.
You see him being born through a mirror. Second scene, you see him through a TV screen. Third time, you see him through the glass case in his display in his art museum.
Yes.
And that
great.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I tried to like start reading into it as like, oh, this is kind of foreshadow that he's like a reflection of David Dunn. He's like the opposite. He's the mirrored version, and that might be true. It also might just be because his name's Glass.
Yeah.
But they're
that's
very
what his
cool,
life is.
pretty flashy shots. Shyamalan
Yeah.
kind of showing off his directorial prowess
It's good.
when he was in the height of his powers.
Yeah. I think it's done well here. Especially that
Yeah.
sequence in early on with Bruce Willis in the train. Back and forth,
Yeah.
long shot of him. He's married, and when he's hitting on that woman, he takes off his ring, and that he doesn't like the rain. Great stuff.
Yeah, I love that you see that entire sequence only through like the little space in between the
The
car
space
seat.
in between the car seats, it's almost
the
like
seat headrests. It's like it's very like we're not supposed to be seeing this, you know? It looks like it's kind of like secret behind closed doors that he's
exactly
doing.
That's
that.
what
We
he's
haven't
doing.
met
there.
his wife. We
Mhm.
don't know anything about the relationship with the wife at this point. All we see is him taking off the ring and flirting with a woman, and so we're like, oh, it's kind of voyeuristic.
Right. And just that, you just know, oh, there's marital issues. It's perfect. It's perfectly done.
Yeah. Shyamalan makes a lot of very distinctive visual choices that I thought paid off pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are pretty flashy, but not without like too much good reason. I feel like later on, especially in Old, he just does like crazy flashy shots that don't have much reason, and they're so flashy that they're like nauseating. It's
Yes, I
crazy.
can't wait to talk about that. Oh my god, thank you
Yeah.
for noticing that.
When it comes to the comic bookness of this movie, it was really interesting watching it for the first time now that we live in the time of comic book movies being the most mainstream, the most popular, the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
Because that, in a way, that really makes this movie like outdated. The whole angle on Samuel L. Jackson's character is that he's an outcast, and so he obsesses over comic books, right? And
Right.
he sees comic books as an art form, and this makes him a weirdo, right? It's like to have this creepy old guy, but he loves comics, which are supposed to be like just a kid's thing, like an obscure nerdy kids thing, like that. That angle doesn't really work anymore because now everybody's obsessed with comics. You know what I mean?
I don't agree. I don't think it's just that though. I think it's just everything about him. the fact that he has a disease. I mean he's a yeah. I don't know. I don't agree to that and that it's outdated. If that's what you're saying.
Well, I don't say it to say that the movie or that character is bad. I think it works really well because it takes place in 2000. I just think that if the movie came out today, it would be very different the way it talks about comic culture. Right? Because it's so mainstream now.
Maybe, yeah.
But you're right. It works really well the way that his condition making him kind of outcasted from society is reflected in his comic book shop.
Yeah.
Or his art gallery, I mean.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Great character.
it's just interesting.
Very realized.
And yeah, he is very good in this. I wouldn't call it his best performance just because he's given so many good ones. The bar is so high for him.
Oh, but like
he's very good in it.
Sam Jackson is always known for like the loud swearing, bad mouth. Yeah, like the loud bad mouth performance that he makes. Here he's super subdued and quiet and weird, and he has this insane haircut, and he's wearing purple, and he has a cane or he's in a wheelchair, and sometimes I forget it's even Sam Jackson. I forget
you're right.
that it's Jules from Pulp Fiction or it's Nick Fury from the Avengers. This is Mr. Glass. So I don't know. It's definitely top 3, if not my favorite performance from him personally.
Yeah, he does disappear into it sometimes. It's a very subdued, very different performance for him.
Yeah.
It reminds me slightly of his performance in Django Unchained, which is actually more broad, calls more attention to itself, but it's that feeble, conniving character.
Disgusting.
It's very different
despicable.
for him, but he's very good at it.
Yeah. That also has like hints of like classic Sam Jackson where he's just screaming and swearing. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like you forget. Oh shoot, that's Sam Jackson. Like, great makeup.
Yeah.
His acting of him being old. Great stuff. And Bruce Willis. My God, what happened to him? He used to be a fantastic actor. Best performance in my opinion. Again, super subdued. Like you can tell just from his face that there's just so much going on with him. He's not happy. He wants to do better. You can tell that he's just always in his mind, and that he knows that you know that he is destined for something better. And I think it's also a redemption movie for him, because essentially, like when we meet him, like I said earlier, he's at the end of his marriage and he's depressed at work, and now that he's found his purpose, he's happy. Damn it! Like he's fulfilling what he's supposed to do. At the end,
and
when
he's also fixing his relationship with his son, which is such
with
a
his
major part
son,
of his arc in this movie.
so
he
good.
can't connect with his son in the beginning, and then him gaining superpowers kind of makes his son look up to him and idolize him, which also has negative effects. His son pulls a gun on him in this movie.
Yeah, great scene.
Wild scene.
Great scene. Oh my God. Yeah, fantastic stuff. I love that they added that to show the negative aspect of essentially your son thinking you're a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great scene. Again, another one done in like one take. There's many one takes, but they're not flashy.
A lot.
I don't think they're flashy. They're like done almost invisible way to just let the actors act and be there, and it works very well for the movie. I think it's almost Spielbergian in a way.
I wrote that down too. I was thinking that his first movie feels like it's emulating Hitchcock. This one sort of feels like it's emulating Spielberg. I mean, it's a little Close Encounters. It's a little
true.
Maybe
I don't know. I feel like it's super original.
I mean, it almost feels E.T. Not in subject, but just its score by James Newton Howard feels pretty John Williams. Like it feels like it's got this kind of like hopeful, inspirational, while also being moody, mystic and kind of moody quality to it.
Incredible score, one of my favorites of all time. Honestly, I love the theme to. I can't hum it like ding 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 ding. You know which one I'm talking about. I can sing, guys. I promise. But I very underrated movie. But I feel like a lot of people recently, especially recently, are like noticing that this is one of, if not Shyamalan's best movie. It's my personal favorite of his. Like I said, it's one of my just all-time favorites in general. I adore this movie. I love the arc of David Dunn. I love the color palette, with Elijah's wearing purple the whole time. And even like his art museum or whatever it's called is just, there's layers of purple. Mm-hmm. David is green. There's like his house is shades of green. The trench coat, shades of green. And then that works into later with Split, where James McAvoy is like a little bit of yellow. Split was good. Glass was doo-doo. But I love this. I feel like it's ahead of its time. I feel like it's timeless. It features some of the most underrated performances. It's to me, it's the definition of underrated, I think. This movie, personally. Another one would be Spider-Man 3, I think.
Oh, dude, I love Spider-Man 3. I'm a defender of that movie too.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. I love it. It's the stupidest one, but I think it's great. Do you have anything else to say about Unbreakable, homie?
I think you'll probably disagree with this, but while watching this in Sixth Sense, it kind of occurred to me that I think Bruce Willis is a very good actor. I can't think of a time that he's given, like, for me, an amazing performance that blew me away.
Okay.
But he just works really well in all the movies that he's in. And most of the movies he's been in have been like these great classics. Like, he's in so many iconic movies.
Yes.
Pulp Fiction, Die Hard, Sixth Sense. He's in... And some of my favorite movies, too, like Moonrise Kingdom.
I was going to say Moonrise Kingdom,
He's in so many, like, absolutely iconic movies. And whenever I see him, I feel like his performance... And maybe it's not so much a matter of quality. Maybe it's a matter of humility, you know? He's never showy. He's never doing a big screaming, crying Oscar bait scene. He just is very, like...
Just very...
he really serves the movies that he's in.
Yeah, which I think is
In this one, he's, like,
great.
very mopey, very subtle, very restrained. It works well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny, like, to think that this guy that has been in The Sixth Sense and Pulp Fiction and, like, these major, like, Best Picture movies, like, isn't the type of guy to give the big, showy Oscar bait performance and to have had all these nominations. I don't think he's ever been nominated for an Oscar.
I will need to check this. Let me see. Bruce Willis nomination.
Not that decides somebody's skill as an actor. There's plenty.
He's only been nominated for a Golden Globe.
What for?
It's a movie called In Country. What?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Weird. In Country.
He's good in 12 Monkeys too.
And he's very good in Over the Hedge.
Who is he in Over the Hedge?
He's the raccoon.
Oh, he's RJ?
He's RJ.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that movie since I was a little kid. I had no idea that was him.
He doesn't sound like him either.
Steve Carell is the squirrel.
Steve Carell. Oh my god, what else? Who? Wanda Sykes, Nick Nolte. Weird cast.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. We should do an Over the Hedge episode.
Oh god, please no. A DreamWorks episode. I'd rather do that. But yeah, fantastic movie. Anything else to say, Kolby?
I don't think so. I was very pleasantly surprised by it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. 10 out of 10, obviously, for me. I adore this movie. Fantastic. Kolby?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Nice.
All right, now let's poo-poo. Let's poo-poo all over his new stuff.
Shyamalan, you hack.
So Old, 2021.
He's got to be self-aware at this point, right?
Have you seen Old?
Yes, I have.
I feel like it's the most unself-aware movie.
I know. Sorry, explain.
It's a movie about a family. The parents are going through a stage where they're getting ready to separate, but they haven't told the kids yet. The mom has a tumor, and they're going through all these issues, so they take their kids for a vacation so they can give them a nice week at the beach before breaking the bad news. And then they go to the beach, and they get stuck on the beach with some other families, and it's a beach that is supposedly magically makes you old.
Oh!
Everybody on the beach starts growing at a rapid rate. The adults start getting wrinkles and skinny, and they start losing their minds. The kids suddenly start becoming like teenagers and adults, and
they become different actors.
Gross stuff happens to their bodies.
Hormones and crazy shit.
I don't think this is a bad concept. At least the whole, like, tying the phenomenon to like a specific beach, I thought is weird. But I think a movie about a family having to face like rapid aging and using that for horror is a pretty good idea.
Yes,
because
I agree.
That's the thing that everyone in the world is scared of, getting older and dying. And just the thought of like losing such precious years, you know what I mean? Like,
they even mentioned
if you're
in
in fourth grade one day and then you're an adult, it's like, oh, I didn't get to experience the joys of being a teenager, you know? That's horrific.
Like prom and learning to drive a car stuff. I think they even mentioned it in the movie.
Yeah, I think this concept is pretty solid, but he just gets in his own way at every possible corner by focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. He focuses on these weird random side characters. There's a guy that's like a rapper. I don't know why that's his thing, but his main thing is that he's a rapper. There's a character, and this is another issue with the movie, which is that the exposition
Oh my god.
is always delivered so like bluntly and like non-humanly. But there's literally a line early on in the movie where a character says, "Hi, this is my wife. She has epilepsy. My name is Jared. I'm a nurse."
That is literal line of dialogue in this movie.
And then the person he's talking to responds and introduces himself, and then he repeats, "My name is Jared, by the way." And then the scene's over.
Jared is not a human. There are no humans in this movie. Not a single human.
They all talk like robots.
Was that intentional?
I've heard people say that they think it's intentional. I can't imagine it would be. If it
Why
is,
would
I
it
don't
be,
think
though?
that makes it better. I don't think that something being
I don't think it
intentional
makes it better either.
okay. But I feel like it's just that Shyamalan didn't focus on modulating his actors' performances. I feel like he must have just been too focused on all his weird other stuff he was doing. I don't know.
Well, okay. I'm not sure how many other Shyamalan movies you've seen, but since Lady in the Water, this is what he's been like known for. I haven't seen The Happening.
Yeah.
I've seen sequences. Holy crap, I need to see that movie. And this comes close in terms of just being baffled at what you're watching. Like, who makes choices like this and says, okay, we're good. Let's keep going. You know what I mean?
I just think he gets distracted. He lets his hubris and his weird ideas get in his way, and he doesn't put in the effort into worrying about the intricacies of the performance and modulating the dialogue. I don't know. It's just I'm not there behind the scenes.
I'm not sure what to think or feel or rate this movie because it does have a solid concept, like you said. I do love the concept. It's a fun, high concept horror movie. You go to a beach and you turn old, you need to escape. No one can escape. Now what? Fun idea. Terrible, terrible, awkward dialogue. Weird, awkward camera blocking with the actors. Weird, but yes. I can kind of okay, because there's moments where the camera just kind of spins around and does like these crazy 360 shots.
Yeah, or it does like crazy crash zooms.
Yeah, and it's like I can admire him trying to do something different, but it just does not work at all in the movie.
I also feel like this is meant to be an intimate family story.
There's no humans in this movie.
I know, like it's like this movie could work so well if the characters were like
Jordan Peele made this.
It was just like a very intimate, character-driven story, like Sixth Sense is.
Yes.
But instead, his flashy filmmaking gets in the way and like draws focus.
Flashy filmmaking is awkward dialogue is it's I don't I don't hate I don't know. Do you hate this movie? I don't hate it.
I wouldn't say I hate it. I definitely didn't enjoy watching it.
Oh, I enjoyed myself watching it. Like
You did?
Yes.
Because it was like funny?
Yes, I was laughing the entire movie. Me and my
Okay.
brother were just laughing. I'm seeing this again. Definitely. I might even own this. This was fun. Not a good movie. It's not good.
Is this like a happening for you?
Not. I think Happening is funnier, but
Okay.
it's definitely. Ed Wood came back to life and made a movie. Definitely.
Ed Wood. To me, it reminded me of Tommy Wiseau.
Bro,
the dialogue
yes.
felt like,
Hello, I
the
am
way that
Tommy.
Tommy Wiseau, his dialogue would be so disjointed and fractured, like characters would just spout out different bits of information that don't flow, you know?
Yeah, it's just
Hello,
like...
I need
these are not
roses. I
humans.
like this dog. You're my favorite customer. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this movie sounds like.
Just weird stage, awkward, not right. It's just not right. You're watching this and you're like, something is wrong. And
It's just not how people talk.
I was in shock. Is there anything that you genuinely liked about the movie? Besides the concept? Because I don't want to shit on it too much.
Both Alex Wolff and Thomasin McKenzie, who are both actors I'm very partial to, very strong, upcoming, exciting young actors. I think both were very good. They both have to play like children in teenager and adult bodies. and they
Uh-huh.
have to play to that immaturity and that
Right.
emotional lack of understanding, and I
Uh-huh.
thought both did very well.
Okay.
I don't like the way either of their characters are handled at
No.
all
No.
in the
No.
story.
No.
I think a lot of it is not just like bad storytelling or like weird clunky, but it's also like, honestly, I hate to say this, I think that the way he portrays the kids in this movie came off to me as a little gross and exploitative and even like a little fetishy. It was weird.
Oh, really?
Did you get that impression, like with the pregnancy thing and just like the way it would focus on these kids' bodies?
Okay, the pregnancy thing, to me, that made, like, I don't know why that was in the movie at all. Think about it. When that happens, for one, they're getting older, but their minds are still the minds of 6-year-old, 10-year-old, however old they are, right? And the sequence where Alex Wolf, or what, Nate Wolf? One of them.
Alex.
The guy, the teenage boy and the teenage girl of the other family are in the tent. And they're still their small ages. And it's clear after that sequence that they're having sex. How they came up with, or how they know what sex is, no idea. Where that came from, no idea. And then they
What does this thing do?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do they even know that? And then she's pregnant immediately because
Yeah.
because the
Because
beach,
of the rapid
obviously.
aging
Right,
thing.
yeah, which is fine.
Her 9 months of pregnancy is reduced to like 15 minutes.
Yeah, which is fine. But when the baby is born, it dies almost immediately and has nothing to do with the plot. Like, there's nothing significant that happens to them from the baby. Like, what? Okay, she gets pregnant. She gives birth to the baby. The baby dies. She doesn't die.
Yeah, it's an idea of the horror of growing fast. It's like, in what ways can I make growing fast, aging fast scary?
That's
What
I
about
get
pregnancy?
that. That's fine,
That
but like
feels
have
just
it.
exploitative to me. It's not.
Yeah, I agree. It's more like weird rather than there was a point to it to be in the story. I'm fine with weirdness in movies, especially horror movies. I want horror to be weird sometimes because weird can be scary. But there was no point to it. I didn't think. I was just like,
Yeah,
wait,
I
okay,
felt
so
the
she
same
just
way about-
died? What? Okay. Moving on? Like, what was the point of that? Like, I
Yeah.
completely forgot that happened.
Yeah, I felt the same way about later in the movie when the Eliza Scanlen's character's mom, the really vain blonde girl, and that's an interesting concept too. Like, oh, let me take a really really vain character and then make her like age rapidly. That's interesting. But at the end, she
Yeah.
becomes like this monster. Like she's crawling through this tunnel and like breaking her bones
That
to
okay?
get to these kids,
yeah.
and it's like it's focusing more on what's a scary, gross way of depicting getting old than actual story logic or meaning.
Yeah.
Why would she be doing that? Why does she want to kill these children? Because she doesn't like how she looks now.
Yeah.
She has wrinkles.
I agree. It makes no sense, but that was the only scene where I had any sense of like reaction. I thought that's kind of creepy. That's kind of cool. I like this. That was like the only sequence I thought, okay, this is cool. Everything else
Yeah,
was just
that definitely made me squirm. Just the body horror of it.
yeah, which the bones cracking, the sound effect, good stuff. Doesn't make sense, but I was leaning for something. And that was something. Yeah, I can't say I hate the twist. I think it's fine.
I hate the twist.
Oh, you do?
I think it's bogged down so much in logic and science. It's like in Sixth Sense, I like that the twist is that he's dead and that it like takes place in this supernatural world where there's ghosts and stuff.
I see. Mm-hmm.
I really just don't think this movie needed a twist. Or if it did, like
I think it did, but I think it should have been handled better.
I like the idea of I like the idea of these people getting old as like an out of the bottle movie, right? Just this scary phenomenon. I think it could have been handled with more nuance, and I think it could have played more strongly into the metaphor and the idea without having to get bogged down in like the fake phony science. At the end of this movie, they're like, oh, well, we found this beach that has ancient minerals underground, and the minerals have this reaction with the sun so that your cells age rapidly, but there's a kind of coral, and that coral is the antidote. So we put a coral reef. I don't care about any of that. I'm so much more interested in seeing people react emotionally to getting older.
Yeah, I agree. But obviously the twist was that, they're taking people that are sick to this beach, certain patients, and they're giving them medicine to see if it works. The medicine works over time, since they're not trying to test over time and over years. Since this beach happens, like a couple years happened in like an hour, they're able to test that quicker. And I was okay with that, like in theory. Like, in theory, that sounds creepy and interesting and cool. But I think, like what you said, it was just too... Like, it felt too, like, science... It was, like, trying to bring in science into this, and it takes away the creepy horror supernaturalness of it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it's done, and it was just too quick, I thought.
And it's so disjointed from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought Shyamalan's extended cameo, basically supporting role in this movie, was like
in a way
so on the nose and kind of egotistical.
Yeah, kind of.
When you see it, you'll know. You're like, oh, okay, what he's trying to do with this is so obvious. It's so... Come on. And again, just disjointed. Like, it's not...
Yeah.
The movie didn't need any of that stuff.
No.
The graphic novel that it's based on, which is just called Sandcastle, I believe is pretty vague about why they start aging rapidly. Like, it's just a scary thing that happens, and then they die, and the sandcastle gets washed away, and it's over. And I think I would have liked that ending. Like, I like the existential horror of this idea. And there's one scene where the parents die, and I thought that was a really good scene. That was the one scene that I really liked, where they they die by the campfire. That was a very emotional, very intimate character family core scene.
But at that point I didn't give a shit about any of them, so it was hard for me to kind of... I can see it working. I can definitely see that moment working if I cared.
Right.
But none of them were humans. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do agree, like, that was the only sequence that was like, okay, good job. That wasn't bad. If I had cared, this would be better. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one shot during that sequence where it starts with Vicky Creeps' character at the campfire. She starts walking slowly to the water. The camera pans sideways following her, and then it moves ahead of her into the water, and then it comes back and she's lying down. Like, that felt to me like the sort of flashy but still effective and useful camera techniques that he used in Unbreakable.
Right.
In the rest of the movie, the crazy zooms and spins
For
around. It's
no
like pointless,
reason.
and it's literally nauseating.
It's literally nauseating. My brother was like, dude, I'm gonna throw up. Right next to me.
Motion sickness.
It's like, I don't know. Part of me, like, again, it's like, good job for doing something, like, at least trying to do something different, but it just doesn't work. Like, he definitely has a passion for what he's doing. Again, he's not our next Spielberg. I'm sorry. He's our next Ed Wood. I feel so bad saying that, but...
I mean, it's too late for him to be the next Spielberg. They've already crowned, like, 3 next Spielbergs after him.
Who do you think is the next Spielberg?
I don't think there is a next Spielberg. I mean, they tried to make Abrams the next Spielberg. They tried it with Shyamalan. No. They tried it with Zemeckis. I just don't think there is one.
Maybe like, Ryan Coogler?
Spielberg wasn't the next Hitchcock. He has a totally different individual style than Hitchcock, you know? I think the next big name, famous, iconic director will be something totally new.
Yeah. Because every director that's like out now, they're their own thing. They're not like Spielberg. They're not like the Safdies. They have their own unique style. Damien Chazelle is very musical and fast.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright, same thing. He's doing new things. He's not anything like Spielberg or anything like Hitchcock. He's Edgar Wright. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The closest I think would be like Ryan Coogler.
Really?
I think so, maybe.
I guess. I think in his actual skill, I agree, but because he's really only, except for his first movie, Fruitvale Station, he's really only made like big franchise stuff. You know, he made a Rocky movie and then a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to see him as a Spielberg type because I think of Spielberg as so original. At least when he was at Ryan Coogler's age and at his point in his career.
Yeah, true.
I feel like Jaws and Close Encounters, his
and
early
Raiders
movies,
are like so different.
Raiders, they pay major homage to earlier stuff.
Yeah, but they're clearly Spielberg.
But they're just so like groundbreaking and new.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really see that with any
Of Coogler stuff, yeah.
Or yeah.
He definitely has a voice.
I do like Coogler. I think he's
he's great director. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, old. I forgot about that. There's nothing else to say. It's weird. It's trash, but it's not. It's great, but it's not. It's hilarious, but it's not. it's something. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. If you're into happening, weird, awkward stuff, this is the movie for you. It is so weird and odd and stupid and awesome. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't even know what to rate this. Do you have anything else to say, Kolby?
I give it a 4 out of 10.
It's 3, 5, 4, like between there, 3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy.
It's not good.
No.
I'm very excited to see Thomasin McKenzie in Last Night in Soho.
Oh yeah.
And in Power of the Dog, the other performances she has coming out this year. Alex Wolff was great in Pig earlier this year. I really liked him in that.
Gotta watch that.
I'm sure got exciting stuff coming up. Like the two of them are so promising.
Where did you see Pig, by the way?
I saw it at a theater in...
in a theater?
Yeah, at the Puente Hills Mall in Cerritos.
Really?
Is that Cerritos? Or is that Norwalk? That's Norwalk, I think. Yeah, it was in very limited theaters, so I had to seek out where it was playing and drive out there.
Nice. All right.
It's very good.
I'll have to check that out. But yeah, old. We're done. We did it. Good job. Woo!
All right, now let's move on to Shyamalan's obvious best movie, The Last Airbender.
Oh my God. Kolby, what do you think of The Last Airbender?
That was my first Shyamalan movie.
Nice. Not a good way to start.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, I mean, what a great way to start.
It was great.
Shyamalan's Last Airbender is like...
It didn't ruin my all-time favorite TV show.
No.
Everything's fine.
They said the main character's name correctly. They they did everything that was supposed to be done. Yeah, of course.
Hey, it's got Dev Patel. Any movie with Dev Patel in it is a win in my book, baby.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, speaking of Dev Patel, what have you been watching lately?
Well, okay.
You got any recommendations for our listeners, Sebastian?
You sure do. Damn it. I've been rewatching. For some reason, I've been watching the DreamWorks movies.
Okay.
How to Train Your Dragon 2. Holy shit. The best computer animated movie that they've made. Not even kidding. Holy shit. Prince of Egypt is their best movie, though.
Woohoo! Prince of Egypt. Oh man.
Suicide Squad. I finally saw.
The
Fantastic.
new one?
Yeah, The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, sorry. The
The
Suicide Squad. You just put the in front of the movie and it becomes a better movie.
Mm-hmm.
So The Batman will be great. And I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for...
Cats.
And The Superman. And The Spider-Man. But,
Should we make the old to improve?
the old? Oh, no.
The old?
The
old
what? Oh God, when was the last? Oh, yeah, I've just been watching a bunch of animated movies because I'm very much into animation. I also finally watched The Wolf of Wall Street and I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
You hadn't seen it before?
Not all the way, no.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, I watched it with my parents. Can you believe that? Not awkward at all.
You did?
Yeah.
Sebastian.
Yeah, it wasn't awkward at all. Don't worry about it.
Dude.
Well, okay, my dad put it on thinking it was a real estate movie. And
Oh
it
my
kind
gosh.
or not a real, like, business movie. And it kind of wasn't. It has elements of business, obviously, but it's a movie about addiction.
It's more of like a broad satire.
Yeah, it's a broad satire. It's a movie about addiction and a man's rise and fall. It's a Martin Scorsese movie. So, fantastic. I loved it. We all loved it. But yeah, not
You know
awkward
what you should
at
watch
all.
with your parents next? Boogie Nights.
Serbian film. Or Salo. I've seen Salo. Have you seen Salo? It's not good.
No, I haven't. I hear it's wild.
It's something. And yes, I will watch Boogie Nights with my parents. Kolby, what have you been watching?
Maybe 50 Shades of Grey with your grandma would be nice.
It's awesome. I might do that.
Yeah, maybe The Devils with your little brother.
The Devils.
Have you heard of The Devils?
Let me look this up. But
It's a crazy unhinged movie with nuns.
Oh my God.
It had a cameo in Space Jam for some reason, even though it's like NC-17.
it did?
Yeah.
In Space Jam?
You know the big crowd of in the new one of all like the Warner Brothers owned characters in the background. They use the Devils.
Holy hell. Oh God.
Right next to the Clockwork Orange guys.
Aren't we progressive? Stupid.
Oh man.
Oh God. This looks insane.
I recently watched 3 different movies that I really want to recommend each of them in totally different ways. Each of them is very weird, very artsy, and very spooky. The first is The Green Knight.
Ooh.
I'm be completely upfront. I don't get it. I couldn't tell you what's going on in that movie, what the meaning is. I did not understand it, but boy did I love it. I had such a good time watching it. It is so visually gorgeous and the performances are so good. Every just craft, visual aspect of it is so good. The makeup, the production design, the costumes,
Right.
the VFX, the cinematography. I had a blast. I was so enthralled and thrilled and entranced by it. It's such an experience. I really recommend you see that movie. I can't wait to see it again.
Again?
Hopefully, again. Hopefully on a second viewing, I will understand it more.
Awesome. I will watch it.
Then I saw Annette.
Huh? Oh, Annette. With
Annette.
Daddy Driver.
Yeah, I was really excited to see this because I love Sparks. They're one of my favorite bands, and they wrote this. It's directed by Leos Carax. I haven't seen any of his other movies. I want to see Holy Motors after seeing this, but he's a pretty unhinged director. He's pretty out there. I like Adam Driver. I like Marion Cotillard. The aspect of one of the guys from Big Bang Theory being in like an artsy opera film, I was like, well, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, of course.
It was very good.
Nice.
We talked about Umbrellas of Cherbourg last week and how it's very operatic and melodramatic, and it's like that if instead of being like Candy and just really sweet and nice, it was kind of dark and twisted and demented. and somewhat like a melodramatic and somewhat like dark comedy satire.
Right.
It's pretty out there. I feel like I understood it more than Green Knight, even though it's also very weird.
Hmm.
I don't think it's that deep necessarily. It certainly has a strong message, but I feel like it's pretty on the surface.
Right.
It's just it's you don't see movies done like this anymore. It
No.
heavily features puppetry, which I love.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I really recommend that one. That's a crazy experience of a movie. And then the last one I want to say is The Night House. I'm not going to give too much away.
I've been
It's a
meaning to
really
see that
excellent, I think fairly low budget horror psychological thriller, and it is my favorite movie of the year so far.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
So I really highly recommend all three of those. Rebecca Hall in The Night House.
I was gonna say that's the one with Rebecca
like
Hall,
this
right?
year's Toni Collette. Like she's not going to get nominated, and I'm going to be pissed.
Damn. You hate to see it.
Every year there's a lady that gives a really great performance in a horror movie and doesn't get what she deserves. It was Toni Collette in Hereditary. It was Florence Pugh in Midsommar. It was what's her name in Us?
Lupita Nyong'o.
Thank you. It was Lupita Nyong'o in Us, and I think this year it's Rebecca Hall in The Night House.
Freaking racist Academy and horror movies.
Yeah, the Academy is really stupid when it comes to horror movies.
Yeah.
They're very...
No, I don't get it.
They discriminate.
Yep. You could say. Never mind.
You could, and I do.
I think we're done. I'll watch all three
so,
movies. That sounds awesome.
Usually at this point in the podcast, we would say, here's what we're going to talk about next week. Goodbye. But the thing is that we don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about next because we don't know exactly when the next episode will be.
No, we don't.
We're coming back. This isn't. We're not getting canceled.
No.
Yet.
Just yet. No, I haven't said anything yet.
We are taking a bit of a hiatus because some crazy life stuff is coming up. We're both starting new years of college,
new schedules, new crazy things.
Yeah, I'm moving on to campus for the first time to study film. It's exciting.
Woo! Good job, boy.
Thank you. But yeah, so it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking. We don't know what our schedules, our recording availabilities, or even just like physical recording spaces will be like. So we're going to figure that out. We're going to figure out a new theme song for when we come back.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on when we come back, we'll be talking about whatever crazy new thing is hitting the scene.
I like it. Yeah. And all of this will be announced on our social media for whenever and whoever will be on the next episode and whatever we'll be talking about.
Make sure to sign up for the Amateur Cast newsletter. We
Correct.
couldn't afford stamps,
No.
so I will just drive to your house
Correct.
every Tuesday at 9:38.
Yes.
If you sign up, and I will knock on your window.
Break it.
And I'll break in and I'll start just talking to you about movies.
And then if you don't obviously accept it, he'll eat your goldfish. I don't know. Don't worry about it. I'm tired. Are you still there, Kolby?
Sorry, I was doing a newsletter run. I
was like, Kolby, what happened?
God, I'm so tired.
He got him. Okay.
Thank you for listening, everybody. It's been very nice. See you next time, whenever that may be. Don't go to the beach.
No. Or you will get... Oh!